Welcome to BizMeds with Darris and Saad, where we give you the medications for your business. This podcast is all about the minimum effective doses you need to make a massive improvement in your business. Listen and enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I want to say this is a continuation of our passion around business. What
we haven't done is we haven't settled on a specific topic, which we did in a previous episode. And so now I think what we're just going to do is continue on and just see where the conversation gets us. Agreed. Emotionally excited.
Wherever we get fired up, start talking about business.
So we're your hosts. I'm Darris.
My name is Saad.
And of course, you're listening or watching to BizMeds on your favorite podcasting
streaming service.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So thanks for joining us again.
Yeah.
Now,
the thing that was on my mind from the last episode was, as a business owner, there's also certain things, and this is kind of something that I picked up from somebody else, and it's the wording of things.
Oh, yes.
It's the wording of things and how people actually react to the wording of things. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't something that I was it wasn't forefront of my mind, but when I think about it, it actually makes perfect sense. So if now, and I'm going to paraphrase exactly what I kind of learned from this person, but if now somebody comes up to you and says like, hey, you have 60 days to get something done, you're probably going to procrastinate for the first 20, maybe even 30, thinking that you've got 30 days. But now if you switch the wording to say, hey, you've got 8 weeks left to do, you might procrastinate for 1 week, but now you have 7 weeks, and that countdown seems more urgent. There's
absolutely.
It seems a bit more that, okay, all right, I need to get my shit together by week 7 at the latest. Like, it gives you a bit more accountability on that front.
Right.
And as a business owner, we've been talking about accountability and higher leverage things. So when you have more accountability and the terminology is actually aligned with that, you feel more empowered to make that change. So just something that I was thinking about. And
that's a really good point. Yeah. Like, it's amazing how, like, the power of words and how it just puts a different context on things.
Yeah.
I agree. It is a really interesting, like 60 days, 8 weeks. Yeah. Like, which one just feels more imminent?
Exactly.
Oh, 8 weeks.
Exactly.
Okay. So if you are naturally a procrastinator, like you said, saying, speaking 8 weeks to that is probably going to be like, oh, well, I should probably get some stuff done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And this again goes back to your comment about leaders leading with example and giving the right tools and strategy. Have you ever been around somebody that's in a leadership position, but you talk to them, you just feel like energy draining out of you? You don't feel like you want to.
Why are you making me relive? Why are you making me relive people?
But then there's the opposite, right? Do you have leaders that use the right wording, right methodologies, right way, where you don't feel like, shoot, I'm going to get fired if I don't, get my shit together, or
you feel empowered, right?
Exactly, right?
You feel like you're part of something better, right? And it's not you're not, where people actually empower the people with them to encourage them to make mistakes, or whatever it is, right? Yeah. And it's a much more involved and empowering situation versus the alternative. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. All right, so here I'm gonna throw it now because it's my turn to throw questions at you.
Go ahead.
I'm just flipping it up.
I should have just picked one.
What if you could pick 2 or 3 of your most, or what you say, like some of the most influential books that you've read to help you along your business journey? What do you think those would be currently? Because I'm not saying these are the best of all time, but like up to this point.
Yeah.
Right.
So number 1 is 0 to 1. As a business owner or while like getting into business. 0 to 1 really opened my eyes about the reality of the stage of business we are. We were talking briefly about like, if you were to talk to somebody in the 19th century about business now versus business then, that book helped me understand like what the reality of business is in today's day and age. Then I want to say Never Split the Difference.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that
Chris
was
Voss, FBI negotiator.
Yeah, and I don't know. I went in with a mindset of like, before I even opened the book, I was like, "What the heck is this book going to teach me?" And if anybody's actually read that, the first chapter, it's like just this super intense, hostage standoff situation.
Right.
It's like, what the heck am I reading? And when you recommended that book to me, I was like going through, and I think I even messaged you. I was like, WTF, like you trying to make me become an FBI negotiator?
Yes.
But the knowledge you get out of that book in terms of like, again, we're going back to the words, the utilization of the right way to communicate, really opened my eyes. And then the third book, it's kind of a toss up between two. Because
throw them both out then.
Two, because one helped me understand areas that I need to improve on. And this is a book that is, I want to say like, and we kind of talked about this. It's a book like you could use for evil, and you could, which one I'm about to say.
I think I do.
Or you could really make some difference in the world with that book. It's called The 48 Laws of Power.
Oh, that's not what I thought.
Oh, you didn't?
Clifford's Big Red House.
Oh, it's a big red book.
Wait, no,
Yeah.
I knew exactly. Yeah.
So that one,
So say it again. Sorry, because
The 48 Laws of Power.
Robert Greene.
Yeah, it's really good book. And that one, it's more of like a
Manual.
Yeah, exactly.
Manual.
Yeah, it's a manual to life, and really helps you. Again, this is why we talk about being a business owner. You got to be open-minded. You have to have that ability to self reflect and understand where you could improve yourself. And that book has kind of helped me. I'm not going to tell you exactly which pages because I don't need you getting an insight on my brain. But and the flip up was between the Motivation Manifesto.
Okay.
Have you read that one?
No, I don't think I have.
I can't remember the author right now. I'm actually just at the very beginning stages. Honestly, like this is such a loaded question because
I know.
it's all about what I'm reading in the moment type of thing.
Yeah.
So the Motivation Manifesto is about taking control of your attention.
Yes.
Again, another thing we talk about. So as a business owner, what is the biggest thing you need to be in control of? Your attention, your focus, your ability to drive the things that you need to get done and have an understanding of it. But if the course that you've put together, if that was in a book format, that would be top 3, because that again is also a manual. And most people don't realize this, like having books that are manuals that help you through different stages of life always help you move forward, like always. Because the thing about the Never Split the Difference is you might come to it in this stage of your life and realize how that might impact and help you in that stage. Fast forward like 5 years, you'll come back to it, and now you'll have a different appreciation for it, a different understanding of it, and a different problem to resolve utilizing the knowledge that's shared through that book, right? So I don't know, I always value books like that. So now your turn to...
So hold on, before we get to me. So interesting, you would say that like the manual, is it because they're more like frameworks, right? They become evergreen, right? So they give you guiding principles, and those things are really important because like the message is timely no matter when it is, right? Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I kind of learned doing what we do is I started writing down problems and the solutions that I've had, like very, very brief, like, couldn't focus. This book helped me focus, right? Like,
Right.
and I'm going like very, very,
Very high level.
yeah, high level view. So anytime in the future, if I run into a problem, I'll just go into my my stuck manifesto or the problem areas that I've had.
That's fantastic.
And I'll look at like, okay, well, this is what helped me before. And
so then if there's something that someone's looking forward to do out of that, that's a really great idea right there, is to take that, this helped me with this, go back and review that every so often. If you're feeling that way, here it is. These are things, and it probably will jog your memory to like, oh yeah, these are the solutions, or these are the things that help me get through that.
And we could talk about this all day long, because as a business owner, you will always have problems. Once you solve a problem, you go into the next problem. Like you said this in episode 2 or 3. I think we were talking about the growth of a business. First you have a problem, like, how do I sell this product? Now you get that all sorted out. How do I start, marketing that product? Okay, now you got that solved. How do I scale, get more people to help me sell the product? Now that's another problem, right? Like, so
all business is literally going from size of problem. As you grow your business, you're just solving different magnitudes of problems and challenges. That's it. That's all it is.
And that's what I was trying to say with, anytime you have a problem and you come back to those frameworks that you learn from the books, it immediately starts making you think of that problem with that framework. And then you go fast forward 5 years, new problem, same framework.
Yeah. Awesome.
We did not rehearse the saying framework at the exact same time. That's just coincidence.
It's funny.
Okay, so question back to you.
Okay.
Top 3 books and...
Yeah, and as soon as I asked the question, I was like, oh, it's a terrible question. It is actually a terrible question, which... I'll come back to that. Remind me of that question, because that's an important point I want to come back to. Okay, so it's probably different phases of life, but I'm gonna lump 2 together for a time where I think I had a tremendous amount. It was probably a very low point for me, and the first one, I think I mentioned it in one of our previous episodes, was ego is the enemy, and for me, it was just the realization at the fact that we do, as humans, have egos. Like we have it, right? But there is an element of subjugating or bringing the ego back into its proper place, right? Like you can be very ego driven. And this is where I developed, I guess, more of an aversion to people like, I'm just so passionate about something. Great. Passion without purpose is just riddled with ego. And so while I love people that are passionate, I love to see that it's backed with purpose. That's much bigger, because adding purpose to passion brings ego back into check, because the purpose brings that out beyond you. So it's not about you. Yeah. And that's a side note, but it was really ego was the enemy. Ego is the enemy as number one. And with that was actually another book that I think played really well for me to help learn some really important lessons, because as someone who was leading people, managing people and all the things, I was a terrible fucking leader. And it was unfortunately treating people like you would treat your children, and which is not good at all either. So the other one was, what got you here won't get you there. And that, like, those two books together were phenomenally helpful and shaping me in a way that realized just the extent of which our ego takes center stage a lot of times, or motivates us even when we're not aware of what we're doing, why we do things. And then understanding with what got you here won't get you there was that, okay, you may have reached a certain point in your life. Okay. And all of the things that you did got you there. But if you're going to keep going along the path, those aren't the things that are actually going to help you get there. And here are like 20 things that you're at risk. These are the 20 at-risk behaviors that if you are exhibiting these, like, there are ways to address them. And that's when I learned, like, there was something like, always feeling like I needed to add my 2 cents in, right? And like, no one asked for my opinion, but for some reason, probably element of ego, feeling I needed to add my 2 cents, not value add whatsoever. Or someone would say something like, yeah, I know that. Cool.
Good for you.
What value did that make that person feel good? Cool. Could you have said something different that was actually enriching and nice to that person and encouraging to them? Absolutely. Like a lot of those things helped me realize just where I was falling short in a lot of ways of being a better human being and being able to lead myself better, to show up better for other people, especially people that were in my care. Yeah. And those were some really big ones. Yeah.
That's really good because, again, this is something I personally try to work on for myself as well. And, it's when it's not a value add, like what's the purpose? Yeah. Like what are you trying to accomplish? And you said this before, that everybody has their own journey, and you don't know what you don't know until you get to it. I can't relate to the journey you've been to and how you learned what you did. You can share your experience if I ask you for your opinion in terms of like, how do I get through this? What did you do? Yep. But what you did might not necessarily the exact path you took, and then we've talked about this before too, exact path you took might not work for me. Exactly. But if I'm coming to you asking you for help, that's a different thing.
How many times, I asked this question only because I recognize it so many times in myself where I felt it like my opinion was just so important. My view of the world was so important. It's not. There's like my perspective, and then there's the completely objective perspective. And I have to admit, or at least be aware, that my perspective can be biased. Absolutely. Yeah. And we haven't talked about the gym in a long time.
No.
So, I say this because, like, how many times have you wanted to go up to somebody like, oh, I'm going to tell them how to work out? Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, cool. Am I an expert? No. Like, are they going to hurt themselves? No. Like,
they might not. Yeah. They might not. Right? They might. Yeah.
Okay. Unless someone's immediately like in immediate danger of like hurting themselves severely, not doing anything, right? Like, I'm not volunteering. And that was something, like, recognizing that how often like we think just because we've formed an opinion on something that is somehow valid to share that with somebody else without them asking, and then taking offense when we share that they don't follow it. Who fucking cares? Exactly. It's not like. So let me get back to my books.
No, hold on. Let me just add this funny story to it. I don't know if you remember this, but do you recall I was telling you about this person at the gym doing a completely wrong form, and I unsolicitedly told them like, hey, I got injured doing that, don't do it, but they kept doing it. And then, an hour later I was like, Darris, like, I was trying to help this guy out, and I gave him this free information, and he didn't listen to me. He kept doing the same shit. And in this like super calm tone, he's like, did he ask you for advice? Did he ask you for your advice? I'm like, no, but like I was trying to help him. I was like, what did you learn? It was like, and that's why I was like, I'm laughing about this because
yeah. And by no means like just because like we have these awarenesses, are we at any point are we saying, oh, like we have learned this is we're suddenly no, like this is the ongoing battle process, right? This is the fortunate part of being human. Like we will continue to wrestle with these things. Yes, we now have awareness, so like you can now start running pattern interrupts on those, and that's how you get better, right? You develop that skill. We talk about skill development. Like that's how you get better. It's just time and repetitions.
Okay. So ego's your enemy.
Yeah, we'll get you there. Oh man, like there's just so many that I think have been so influential. So I will say, so from the business standpoint, one of the most influential books ever read was The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. So when we talk about the entrepreneurial seizure, that's Michael Gerber talking. It was like, when I read that book, it was like this same lightning bolt, like, oh, makes so much sense. And that really allowed me at a very young age to really start to understand systems and how systems operate in a business, and the very common mindset trap that business owners get into where they start doing all of the work. And actually, this was just happened in one of my coaching sessions recently, where the owners were, again, pulling more work back into themselves instead of fixing the issues with systems and fixing the issue. Suddenly the trade-off is, well, I'm going to take the work on so somebody else feels better, so they don't feel like I'm putting more demand on them. But it's, no, like, your responsibility as a business owner is to support the business by fixing it at its root. So I'll say, so E-Myth was transformative in being able to think about business and really allowed me to then develop a really great skill of thinking about systems and how systems support the business. And that's what you have in place. It's not the owner. If you think about a wheel and then at the very center is the hub. Well, most business owners put themselves at the hub, and if they're not there, the whole thing falls apart. No, that is not how a successful business runs. So I would say, so from a business standpoint, that was extremely powerful book. So if you haven't read it, go buy hard copy version, get it. Again, it's another manual. You will, like, for what, $20, $30, like, that book is immensely valuable.
As a business owner, should be investing in yourself.
Oh, a million %. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Honestly, I thought you were going to say power versus force.
Okay, so that's a good one. but I'm looking at, like, really key instrumental points for me, because you've seen my library.
Yeah.
I will say, this one, I'm looking at things that transcend, like, everything, because I believe, like, how you are in business is how you are in life. And, like, the things cross over. You're not one way in your business and, like, and then another way in your personal life. And it's specifically because, like, there's a lot of, over my career, I've coached a lot of, like, couples in business. Yeah. So one book is Crucial Conversations. Oh, I cannot tell you. I wish I had a better understanding. Actually, for the first two, Ego's the Enemy, What Got You Here, What Got You There, Crucial Conversations, I wish I had those when I was newly married, way back in the day, because so many things I think could have been resolved with learning the framework and literally the formula for having amazing conversations when stakes are high, emotions are high, and how to actually to have the best communication that wins for everyone. And that's possible. So Crucial Conversations was another one, because there has been so many times where I have been able to, not always, but more often, continue to have great conversations simply because of Crucial Conversations. And it's required reading for clients. If you haven't read it, again, that's another one. I can't remember the author, but you'll know they do Crucial Conversations and I think Crucial Confrontations. Crucial Conversations is one of the ones that teaches how to have those really important conversations that we don't feel equipped to have, but we know we need to have, usually avoid having, and cause us the most amount of grief and become the greatest source of unchecked issues, like emotionally and everything, and unresolved, because we're not actually
load.
Yeah. You just throwing it at me, just getting me going. Absolutely. Because those things weigh on your mind. I don't know how many times we've had coaching sessions where it's like, oh, this conversation, I know I need to have this thing, but I'm afraid. Well, follow the framework, learn the framework, follow the framework. And you only get better at it by doing it and getting a little bit better each time. It's that skill acquisition. Like, that's only, you get better little by little. You don't suddenly read the book and be like, I'm the best communicator ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are those. I have like so many more.
So
I'm going to throw one more in for leadership, just for a good measure, because you did a 2-for-1. So
you did 2-for-1 just now.
We're not talking about this.
We're not comparing.
But I think so. There's a great book by Jerry Colonna called Reboot. It's Reboot: Leadership and the Art of Growing Up. And
is it the same author as The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. And so Jerry Colonna, if you don't know his history, look him up. Last name Collonna. He's an Italian guy. Anyway, I think he was part of, I forget the name of it was a very large investment group. Anyway, he left all of that. He does executive coaching. His book Reboot is I think, immensely powerful in allowing you to identify the things, the deeper things of being a leader and how to lead yourself first and foremost. So we talk the importance of being able to lead yourself. I think that book is another one of those ones that allows you to give you the tools and understanding of how to do that, how to dive into things and be more accepting of the things, to be more in touch for yourself and your people, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of these businesses rely on people and our relationships with people. More importantly, how we lead ourselves and show up for ourselves is just as important. And I would highly recommend, I will say, I'll give a slight giveaway, is there some journaling things in that, and they are so powerful. One question I will say from that book, which has pierced me in every category, has been, what are the conditions? How am I complicit in creating the conditions that I say I don't want? I think I remember that correctly. But it's basically, the question is really, I say I don't want these things, but how am I complicit in actually creating the conditions for those? And if you spend time thinking about that, it is a very powerful, way to look in and be like, oh, interesting. And that's relationships, that's business, that's everything, like your children, everything. And I would say, like, some of these have helped me in many ways be a better parent, right? And helping me, but also a better manager, but leader of myself, and becoming a lot more real and understanding, okay, where am I just bullshitting myself and deluding myself to think I'm working hard and doing the things, versus, okay, this is what that means.
Exactly. And I mean, it is true, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah. But we all like to talk about it.
Yeah. So I think we're approaching our timeline again, but this felt like it went really quickly.
Flow state.
Honestly, it just felt like it just flew by.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably going to be a part 3 again to
I'm
this.
Sure we'll mix one up
we'll just
there,
throw something in. But again, I want to wrap this up by summarizing the things we've kind of talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, books are your friends. As a business owner, you should constantly be looking at what book to. The one thing that we do, and I have a group of friends that I do this with, is like suggesting books to each other.
Yeah.
You should always be looking to have a network that helps you grow on
leaders. Leaders are readers. I know that sounds very cliche, but it's true. And the reason why is because we don't come into this world knowing everything. It's just ridiculous, right? But books are some of the most potent, compact forms of knowledge transfer, because you literally take years of research and work and you compress that into literal hours.
Yeah.
So the knowledge transfer for time spent is immense.
Mm-hmm.
And what it also does from a neuroscience standpoint is it loads your pattern recognition system, so that when you are looking to make connections, you are armed with all of the relevant information. You have a much broader context to pull connections from. If you're reading all this stuff and taking this stuff in versus those that don't, you have a much smaller well to draw from than if you are listening to audiobooks.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
like there's multiple ways.
Yeah.
So anyway, leaders are readers.
Yeah. Sorry, it's just going to get me going about the
we don't have time.
The listening
I can't
part,
shut up.
So continuously learning. You made me lose my train of thought now, because I was...
Ego is your enemy.
So continuously learning. Help me out here. Throw me a bone. Like, I can't stop thinking about the listening part now.
Okay, yeah. So really about like leading yourself, that's a common theme, right? And there's multiple ways. And I think what we did was we gave you some really great resources to start to dive into, in terms of, hey, what's the minimum effective dose? Any one of those is going to be tremendously powerful. So pick which one of those captures your curiosity the most, right?
I just got my thought back.
Hit it.
They're talking about again, the theme again is frameworks, having continuous frameworks around you that you can continually come back to, utilize over and over and over and over again. So the purpose is to have those at your handy.
Yeah, those evergreen frameworks you keep coming back to. The other part to remember is that you're going to suck. You're going to suck. Business sucks. It does. It sucks until it doesn't. And we're just like, this is about being real.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, guess what? Like, you're going to suck when you read Crucial Conversations. You're going to think about all the times you did a shit job talking to your children or your spouse or one of your employees. And you're going to beat yourself up and be like, wow, I wish I would have handled it differently. Okay, great. Accept it. Also then, okay, what's the one thing I can do differently now? So I say that tongue in cheek. Yeah, you're going to suck. Okay. At that point, yes, you didn't have the knowledge, you didn't have the tools, you didn't have the skills, but this is where that changes. You can then learn things to help you with that.
Yeah. Getting comfortable with getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, embrace, as I think it's the Marines or Navy SEALs, just embrace the suck. It's going to suck. And
you're not going to get better unless you go through.
We try to avoid it, just like we try to avoid the hard stuff, the boring stuff. But that's what this is. This is the stuff you have to go through. Yeah,
exactly. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening, tuning in, listening to the second part.
Yes. Thank you, Saad's mom.
Thanks, Will. Please like, subscribe, and
hit the notification button.
Share if this was useful, if you enjoyed our passion about business, and if you related with anything, share it with your local business owner that might find this valuable or be able to relate with.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you're on Apple or Spotify, please, I got something like, do us a huge favor and leave a review. Give us a rating, like that helps push it out. Share it on any of your socials. If you see one of our shorts, our Instagram reels, our TikToks, share them. Again, just help us, please, to continue to spread the word out there. Just that's the only thing we ask is the pay it forward. And if you got something, let someone else get something from this too.
Exactly.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode.
Take care.